So I've modified the jacks so at least they are able to line up end to end and be fairly straight, fairly level. Had to modify the top so that they were the same height starting out. Now I'm going to mount it to the main post here. Okay, so I have mounted them so that they are square and plumb, so that the bottoms are level at maximum rise, and so you can see at least that aspect. Next up, I need to run a shaft from nut to rod, and it needs to be an expandable shaft because as these contract down, the nut moves closer and the rod moves closer. So next up, I've got to figure out what the amount of travel is for that. Okay, so I determined my shortest distance at maximum height is 26 1/4, and at contracted down is 26 5/8. So now I have to come up with a shaft to go from the nut here to the nut there and be somewhat expandable. Well, here's the finished product anyway. And then up. And there we go. So I can lift up both sides of my car at the same time. Goes through the underneath side of the car, and it can go on the same side of the car and lift up one side to swap out tires. I will say that this little gem took me quite a while to get figured out. Like I said, I took a chainsaw wrench, cut the handle off that, and then put 3 nuts on the same bolt, so I had a multiple spread of bolt head that could move in and out as this thing goes up and down. This rod needs to shorten. And then I made 3 attempts at attaching this weld here, and then had my car lifted up, and this weld ended up breaking. So one side was working and one side was not, or actually vice versa. So here it is with the casters on it, and it is able to scoot underneath whatever car you need to move it for. Next up, I'm going to grind down the edges and paint her up.